This is Gemara Baba Basra, Daf Kuf Samoch Aleph, and today's shiur has been sponsored as an incredible zchos Rafua Shlema for Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva v'siyata d'Shemaya. We should continue seeing the Koyach HaTorah perform its incredible Yeshuais and bring a complete Rafua Shlema b'karev. We're holding on the bottom of Kuf Samoch Amid Beis, about 7 lines from the bottom, and the Gemara asks, "V'nechosh dil mazayif v'kosav mai debai baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol." So we just finished saying that according to Rav Huna, where are the Edim signing on such a shtar? They're not signing on the bottom of the shtar like they would do in a regular scenario. So says the Gemara, if that is the case, now there's other issues that we have to contend with. Most notably, the Gemara begins with Mazayif. Why are we not afraid that maybe the one that holds the document is going to be Mizayif? He's going to forge the document and write whatever he wants. If the bottom of this piece of paper is blank, and thereby allowing for someone to write whatever they want, why are we not worried he's going to write what he wants? V'chasimi Sadi. Why? Because the signatures are already signed, and therefore there's now extra space. In that extra space, he could go and he could put what he wants. Meaning, if you have a regular shtar, then you have the text with the signatures right underneath it. There's nowhere to write anything. But over here, this get mikosher that we're in the middle of discussing, that the Eidim are signing, and we had a machlekes, whether they're signing in the back or whether they're signing between the folds. Rav Huna said, "Bin kasher lekesher," between the folds. So ask the Gemara, we have a problem because they sign between the folds, leaving the bottom of the document blank. On that bottom of the document, the person could forge and add in any clause that he wants. Answers the Gemara, the Kosav Bey Sharir Vikayim. The way that we assure that does not happen is that they write kosher v'kayam, which means it's firm, it's established. They write that at the bottom of the document. That indicates that the document is over, and therefore nothing could be added afterwards. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Maybe he'll add in a clause, and then he'll write shar v'kayam again. Says the Gemara, well, that's obvious because 3 lines from the bottom, chad shar v'kayim kasvina and 3 shar v'kayim loy kasvina. And if there's 2 times it says shar v'kayim, that's pretty fishy because we only write 1, and therefore, says the Gemara, that would indicate that it's a forged document. Continues the Gemara. Okay, so you only write 1 shar v'kayim. But why aren't we worried? He's going to erase shar v'kayim. He's going to write whatever he wants to write, and then he will rewrite shar v'kayim. Answers the Gemara, Ha'amar Rav Yochanan has taught us Tolua Mikayemes Ksheira, that if it's Toluya, if it's hanging at the end of the shtar, that is kosher. What does it mean if it's hanging at the end of the shtar? That is kosher. So the Rashbam here explains that what's going on is that what happens if a sefer realizes that he forgot something? So the answer is he hangs the word between the 2 lines. He's allowed to insert that word, and then he would write such and such was added, shayir v'kayim. Why? Because that shows that who added it. Like if everyone has anyone who signed a legal document, if you leave something out, what do? They add it and they put the signature on it. So that would be a similar way to do it. So that shows us that you know that that line that was added was done by the cipher. Says the Gemara, but machak. But if we have a document which has an erased part of the document, like would be in the case that we're suggesting right now, that maybe the guy is going to erase shayir v'kayim. Says Rav Yochanan, if you have a document that something is erased, automatically it is basal af al pi shemekuyam, even if it is a shtar mekuyam, it's a certified document. Why? Because the fact that it was erased shows something's going on over here. As the top Rashban points out, as we're going to explain, because maybe the document was tampered with. V'loy amru, and we do not say machak pasal. When is machak pasal? Says the Gemara, it's not any time you see some erasing on a document, it's pasal. Says the Gemara, v'loy amrina. V'loy amru machak pasal. Ella where? B'makayim shayir v'kayom. If at the end of the shtar, at the place that we're saying they generally write shayir v'kayom, everything is good, everything is established. If that area was erased, then the shtar is possible. Ukeshir shayir v'kayom, and only if it's the size of shayir v'kayom. And meaning if it was less than that, then that's not a concern. And therefore, we don't have to be worried that he erased part of the shtar, rewrote something, and then rewrote Shar V'Kayim. The Rashbam here points out that, of course, if it's larger than Shar V'Kayim, if there's a whole area that's erased, then certainly one has to be wary that there might be an issue. Says the Gemara, so that's all according to the opinion of Rav Huna, that you write the signatures in our Gemik Kusher, in our folded sewn up document between the folds. Asks the Gemara on the third line, that where do you sign on the back of the paper? Why are we not worried? Ask the Gemara a very similar kasha. Why aren't we worried that he'll write whatever he wants inside the document? And he'll have additional signatures on the outside of where that is written. Meaning, the whole point, according to Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, is that every line of text on the back side is a line of a signature. Line of a text, line of a signature. Obviously, with the fold situation. So says the Gemara, so I have a whole shtar. Now I want to forge the shtar. I want to add in a clause. What do? I add a line in. Oh, but now there's going to be a blank space. No big deal. I'll just add another signature. V'amar, another rabbis ve'edimu davidi. And when someone sees this and says, hey, why are there so many signatures on it? I'll tell you know why? Because I wanted to have extra edim. I want a lot of people to know about this shtar. So why are we not worried, according to Yirmiyah Abba, that he can forge the document in this way? So Amar Lei, so Rav Chisda responds, Mi savras edim kisidron chasimi. Do you think that edim sign across, like we just said, that there's a line of text, and then on the back side, opposite that, a line of signatures? No, edim mimata lemalo chasimi. The edim sign upwards, perpendicular to the text. So if half of the paper is filled with text, on the back of it, perpendicular to that, the edim will sign. And therefore, there's no way to add anything on, because there's no way to get extra signatures. Says the Gemara, says the Gemara, okay, but why are we not worried that maybe there's going to be a problem in the last line of the document? The guy is l'shita achreina. And what's he going to do? He's going to cut off the last line. The guy is Ruvain Bahadei. And there's going to be one Eid's name, that first Eid on the bottom, that his name will be cut off. So now, again, they're signing perpendicular on the back. So it says Ruvain ben Yaakov. That's how you sign a shtar. So says the Gemara, there's no way to add anything on. But says the Gemara, okay, but if I just cut off the whole bottom, I'll cut off the whole name Ruvain. Then where are the signatures? Says Gemara, no big deal. Miskasher ben Yaakov Eid. The fact that it says ben Yaakov Eid, that itself is enough of a kosher signature. It's not, as we learned in the Mishnah, ben ish pleni Eid is kosher. So asks the Gemara, according to Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba, why do we not have to be concerned they'll cut off part of the shtar? Answers the Gemara, the Kasev Ruvain ben Bechad Dara. You know what they do? They make sure that each line, again, remember, this is a folded up piece of paper, so there are lines in the shtar. So they make sure that on one line it says Ruvain ben, and then if Yaakov Eid Iluye on the next line. So if you cut off one line, what are you going to be cutting off? Ruvain ben. What's going to be left? Just Yaakov Eid, and that's not a kosher signature. Says the Gemara, 4 lines to the bottom. Ruvain ben. Wait. Maybe just that they're going to do. It's kasher b'Yaakov Eid. We just said that you can't make a kasher b'Yaakov Eid. Says Gemara, how do you know that? Maybe you could. Ditanan. We have a Mishnah that says Ish Pliny Eid kasher. If it just says Ish Pliny Eid, like Yaakov Eid, that would be kasher. Says Gemara, Delay Kasev Eid. They wouldn't write Eid. They write Ruvain ben Yaakov. Ruvain ben on one line, Yaakov on the next line. So if they cut off the whole Ruvain ben, what's left? Just Yaakov. That is not a kosher signature. Therefore, we're not worrying to cut off part of the star. Iba Yisem and other tars only because of Eid. They really wrote Ruvain ben Yaakov Eid. Yadin and Ba Da Chasimas Yada. But the reason why we're not worried that they're going to cut off the bottom, again, it's Reuven ben Yaakov. Ben Yaakov and Reuven are two different people. So if you, Yaakov and Reuven are two different people. Yaakov is the father. So if you cut off Reuven ben and you only leave over a Yaakov, you know we're not worried. Because we know about him, the Chasimas Yada, this is his signature, and therefore we know it's Reuven's signature, and therefore we're not worried. They're going to cut off Reuven, leaving over just the Yaakov Eid. And we're going to be Makayim the Shar just with the words Yaakov Eid, because Yaakov Eid, we know this is not Yaakov, Lav Yaakov, we know this is not the signature. And the top Rashban says, we know the way that people write. Continues the Gemara, maybe this guy's name is really Yaakov, and it's Yaakov's handwriting, and they're going to cut off Reuven, maybe this is really Reuven's handwriting, and they're going to cut off Reuven ben. It just says Yaakov Eid, and this is not Yaakov Eid. It says, Maria, this guy signs, you know what his signature is? His father's name, Yaakov Eid. Says the Gemara, no one would do that. No one would leave his name and sign the name of the father. Continues the Gemara, maybe the son did sign by writing Yaakov Eid. No one would ever sign their father's name. Says, you're right. But Yaakov Eid, maybe it's just a symbol. What does that mean? Rav Sayer Kura. Rav, when Rav would sign, he would draw a fish. Rav Chanina Sayer Charusa would draw a date palm. Rav Chista would write Samach. Rav Husheya would write Ayin. Rava Barhuna Makusa would sign a ship's mast. Now these incredible Gedalim, they would sign by a symbol. So maybe Yaakov Eid is this guy's symbol. Avada, no one would have the chutzpah to use their father's name as a signature. But maybe it's not the father's name, it's just a symbol. Answers the Gemara, what everyone's anticipating, no one would make their father's name into a symbol. And finally, says the Gemara, one last teretz, Marzucha Amar, Lam Lacha Kulei Hai, Kol Makosha Sheneidav, Kol Meshita Achas, Puzzle. Says Marzucha, you know why we're not worried that we're going to cut off part of the shtar? Because any get mikosher in which all the signatures do not all start and end on the same line, it's going to be possible. And therefore we have multiple eidim, again, signing, here's the text, perpendicular to the text, all starting on the same place and ending. So if you cut it off, you're invariably going to cut through some of the signatures. Therefore, you don't have to be worried that such is going to happen. Therefore, it says Marzuch, according to Rabbi Abba, do not have to be worried that they're going to tamper with the shtar. We're going to stop over here. We'll pick it up from Yitzchak Bar Yosef in the next year of B'siyata Dishmaya.